Hi guys! In this video today, we're going to discuss how to approach a mortgage problem, specifically a foreclosure problem on the bar exam. First things first, our first step in tackling a mortgage foreclosure question on the bar exam is to determine priority. The only way you can determine priority is to analyze the applicable Recording Act. The problem should tell you what type of jurisdiction you are in. You want to use how you approach a Recording Act problem to help you figure out priority in foreclosure. That's always step one to a mortgage problem. So let's do that step one together using a hypothetical. I'm going to chart out or draw a picture about what my notes would be if I were to analyze this question on an essay or MBE problem. So turning to our hypo, let's say an owner buys a new house. But to do so, this owner borrows $100,000 from Bank A. So I'm just going to jot that down. Then the facts tell us that Bank A records. So far, this is what my picture looks like. $100,000 was borrowed from Bank A records. The facts go on to tell us that owner then borrows $50,000 from Bank B. It says Bank B has no actual knowledge of Bank A's interest and Bank B does not record. So now my picture just illustrates that $50,000 was borrowed from Bank B. Next, our facts tell us owner then borrows $30,000 from Bank C. Bank C has no actual knowledge of B's interest. Bank C records. So here is what my facts kind of pictured or jotted out would look like. $100,000 from Bank A records, then $50,000 from Bank B, no recording, and then that $30,000 from Bank C, and C records. The facts in our hypo tells us that we are in a race notice jurisdiction. So the very first step, once you've charted or drawn out these facts, is to determine priority. So to do that, we're going to analyze that race notice statute in the context of our facts. So we know that there are three banks based on our facts, Bank A, Bank B, and Bank C. So we know that someone has to be in first place, second place, and third place pursuant to this race notice statute. So what I'm going to do is just draw that out. Because again, someone will be at spot 1, 2, and then 3. So turning to the statute, the race notice statute, who do we protect? A race notice statute protects those subsequent bona fide purchasers for value who take without notice of an earlier transaction and are the first to record. So taking that rule and applying it to our facts at hand, we were told that Bank A gave $100,000 and they recorded first. We do not have any facts that anyone else had an interest that A was aware of. So we know that Bank A, the first bank to give money and the first to record, is going to be at spot number 1 under our race notice jurisdiction analysis. So what I'm going to do is just write that down. Bank A, 100K. But we're not done. We still have to figure out who's in second place and who's in third place. Still turning back to that race notice statute, which again we protect those subsequent bona fide purchasers for value who take without notice of an earlier transaction and are the first to record. So turning to B and C, we have to determine who's second and who's third. Based on this picture, pursuant to our facts, Bank C will be in second place. Why? Because the picture illustrates that Bank C was the next to record. In fact, Bank B never recorded. And again, we're analyzing a race notice statute. That statute cares about who has recorded and in what order. But not only is Bank C in second place pursuant to their recording, but because they gave money or they gave value without notice of Bank B's interest. How do I know that? Because our picture illustrates that Bank A gave money and Bank A recorded. Then Bank B gave money, but Bank B didn't record. So that means by the time C came around to give money, C did not know, specifically did not have record notice of Bank B's interest. And there are no other facts illustrating that Bank C had any notice of B's interest in any other way. They didn't have any actual knowledge or inquiry knowledge. So in second place will be Bank C with that $30,000 that they gave. That means, finally, in spot 3, that's Bank B with their $50,000. So what I've done here, just directly under my picture, is I've just jotted down who's in first place, second place, and third place. In other words, step 1 of our mortgage foreclosure analysis is complete. We figured out priority. So what happens next? Next is when you apply the rule about what happens if there is a foreclosure issue. The general rule says the very first thing or people to get money when a foreclosure occurs is that the costs associated with the sale have to be paid off. Usually for bar exam purposes, this is not a big deal. They don't even give you this fact, but it's good to know that that is technically where money goes first, to pay off all the costs associated with the sale. Next in line to get paid is the mortgage that does the foreclosing. They get paid first. Next in line will be all junior mortgages would get paid out in order of priority. And finally, if there's any money left over, that money would flow to the homeowner. This means that any senior mortgages stay put. They stay on the property. So now that we know the rule, we know basically where the money goes and in what order generally, let's put that to some specific facts, specifically that hypothetical that we worked on together, because we already figured out the order of priority for banks A, B, and C. So to give you some more facts so that we can analyze a full foreclosure analysis together, let's say that using this example, where Bank A is first in line, Bank C is second in line, and then Bank B is third in line. Let's say that Bank C forecloses. And specifically, Bank C forecloses and makes $200,000. So what I'm going to do in my picture is I'm circling who's doing the foreclosure, and I draw a big arrow down. C forecloses. I made a note that they made $200,000 at this sale, and I drew an arrow down. Why did I draw an arrow down? Because the rule specifically tells us that the bank that does the foreclosing gets paid first. That means, based on our basic facts here, C would get paid first because they are the ones doing the foreclosing in our problem. But the reason I drew that arrow down was to illustrate the next part of the rule, that once that bank that's doing the foreclosing gets paid first, any money left over gets paid out to the junior mortgages in order of priority. Because I've already put these banks in order of priority, that means that I can simply circle the party doing the foreclosing and draw that arrow down, and then I can just work in that order. Meaning C would get paid first, and if there's any money left over, then Bank B would get paid next because they are the next junior mortgage. And if there's any money left over, it would go to the homeowner, meaning we never go up, we only work down based on the rule. So turning back to our facts, I told you that Bank C is foreclosing, and let's say Bank C makes $200,000. Who will get paid what and in what order? Well, turning to our specific facts, Bank C gave $30,000 and they're making $200,000 at this foreclosure sale. This means Bank C gets all $30,000 of their money back. They're happy. And $200,000 minus $30,000 is $170,000, meaning there's still more money. So where does that $170,000 go? Well, using our illustration, which follows the rule, we pay out the other mortgages in order of priority, specifically those junior mortgages. So Bank B is considered a junior mortgage to C. Because why? We already put them in order of priority pursuant to that race notice statute. So this means Bank B gets paid next. Bank B gave $50,000. This means Of that $170,000 that's left over after Bank C got paid, Bank B would take their $50,000, which means $170,000 minus $50,000 leaves us with $120,000. So where does that $120,000 go? It flows to the homeowner. They would take that excess money, not Bank A. That is the mistake that most people make. They try to pay the senior mortgages next. But remember the rule. First bank to get paid is the one doing the foreclosing. Then next in line are the junior mortgages in order of priority. And if there's any money left over, then it goes to the homeowner. The senior mortgages stay on the property. I hope that helped you guys out when it comes to approaching mortgage foreclosure problems. Best of luck on the bar exam, and we hope that you tune in to more of our videos.